Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome all to the March 14th, 2018 Joint Planning and Zoning meeting. Normally, we would do planning first, but this evening we're taking up the Joint Planning and Zoning meeting first, as there's a very short docket that we can dispense with quickly. Please note for the record that all commissioners are present with the exception of Mr. Schexnayder. I'd ask everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, and with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Can we get staff introductions, please?
Patrice Johnson, Zoning Secretary.
Cody Martin, the attorney for the Planning Commission.
Lance Brock, zoning official.
Eric Poche, Parish Planner.
Jerome Fournier, Director of Planning and Development.
Sean Chereau, Engineering Review Agency.
And before we get started, the first thing on the agenda of the Planning Commission meeting was the swearing in of the three reaffirmed members, which we'll need to do before we proceed. So I'd like to get a motion to amend the joint meeting to swear in the three members that were reaffirmed recently.
So we're going to make a motion to amend the ordinance for swearing.
All right, well, Mr. Furman beat you to it, so second. Moved by Mr. Furman, second by Mr. Dumas. All in favor?
Aye.
Any in opposition? Hearing none, the motion passes. Can we proceed with the swearing in? Cody, is that what you do?
Yeah, let me pull it real quick. I wasn't ready for it yet.
Sorry.
Right.
Oh,
Good point.
no, it's you. Oh, okay, it's four people, actually, not three. My bad.
1, 2,
3, 4.
Not me.
oh yeah.
All right, whoever's a new commissioner can just stand.
And you're going to do them for both planning and zoning?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and do it jointly right here for both meetings. Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, and then state your name.
I, Maury Mitchell,
Do hereby solemnly swear
do hereby solemnly swear
to follow the rules and ordinances of Ascension Parish,
to follow the rules and ordinances of Ascension Parish,
the laws of the state of Louisiana,
the laws of the state of Louisiana,
the laws of the United States,
and the laws of the United States,
and carrying out my duties
and carrying out my duties
as an official
as an official
appointed to
appointed to
the Planning and Zoning Commissions
the Planning and Zoning Commissions
of Ascension Parish.
of Ascension Parish.
So help me God.
So help you God.
All right, congratulations, guys.
Thank you, yes. And I would like to acknowledge that Councilman Satterley, I see him in the back. Thank you for joining us. All right, moving on. The next item on the agenda is the acceptance of the previous minutes. Item 3A is acceptance of the minutes and written decisions of the March 8th, 2017 meeting. Do I have a motion on that?
Motion.
Moved by Mr. Chasson, second by Mr. Christie. All in favor?
Aye.
And any in opposition? Hearing none, motion passes. Item 3B, acceptance of the minutes and written decisions of the May 10th, 2017 meeting. Mr. Chasson, do you have a point of order on that?
Yeah, I already spoke with the secretary, so we can move to approve with corrections, and I think she's going to take care of that.
And there was, I think, a typographical error on the identity of the commissioners. There were some commissioners that have been, that were no longer on the commission listed as being present. So with those corrections, you move to approve?
Correct,
All
yes.
right,
So moved.
motion by Mr. Chasson, second. By Mr. Furman, all in favor?
Aye.
Any in opposition? Hearing none. Item 3C, acceptance of the minutes and written decisions of the August 14th, 2017 meeting. Have a motion? Moved by Mr. Chasson, second by Mr. Christie. Everybody in favor? Any in opposition? Hearing none, motion passes. Item number 4 is the chairman's comments. The chair has no comments tonight. Item number 5, public hearing to recommend approval or denial to the parish council to consider the following on the 5A Silver Oaks PUD revision to developmental agreement. Subject property is located to the south side of Germany Road, approximately 1,500 feet east of Airline Highway in Council District 9, and is currently zoned as a planned unit development, a PUD. The application is on behalf of Ascension Properties, Inc. by Quality Engineering and Surveying, LLC. Mr. Fournier, you want to address this?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, I'm here to request action by the commission to remove a particular requirement from the plan unit development agreement that was filed and approved by both the commission and the council back when this project first appeared. To let you know what's occurred in the meantime, I'd like to put this exhibit up. John, if I can get this thing going. Here's the development in, just kind of focus in a little bit. This project, here's Germany Road and here's Airline Highway. The developer was required to put in a right turn lane from Airline Highway into the project and a right turn lane in an easterly direction from Germany Road into the project. One of the other conditions they had was to put in a right turn lane that went from Germany Road onto Airline Highway, all right? In conversations with certain council members, the preference is to have them pay their development impact fees, traffic impact fees, to the tune of $338,416, as opposed to building the right turn lane, which might get torn up at a later date when we try to improve the full intersection. What we'd like to do, and this is a site, this is an aerial photograph showing the area. This is the Duplessis Center where the Rouses is located, and you can see the full intersection improvements that are going in an easterly direction onto Airline Highway, where we have a full right turn lane, a through lane, and a left turn lane going into Airline Highway. We would like to improve Germany Road coming into Airline from going in a westerly direction with the same type of improvements. So if we have this developer just build a right turn lane, we'd very likely have to rip it up a little later, and we wouldn't get the full benefits of having that done. So what we'd like to do is have them pay their full development impact fees, as opposed to getting credit off of Germany Road, which is a traffic impact fee road, by the way. I think the cost of that was around $190,000. So we'd remove that condition from them and basically have a full interchange right there and a full intersection. So we'd like the commission to do is just remove that condition off their development agreement, and recommend to the council to pull it off. By the way, this presentation was also made to the Transportation Committee, which is composed of certain council members, and it was approved unanimously. Now, the next step is to go before you, and if you agree, we will take it to the full council for their approval. All right?
All right, before we open a public hearing on this, I do want to recognize that Mr. Scheck-Snyder has joined us, and also see Councilman Lawler in the back there. Thank you for joining us. I didn't see you earlier, so I didn't mean to slight you. All right, we'll go ahead and open a public hearing on this. Ms. Patrice, has anyone signed up to speak on this issue? Oh, we have somebody who would like to speak on that. Come forward, sir. And I would remind everybody who's here and wishes to speak on any issue tonight, we do want you to have the opportunity to be heard. However, we can't sit here all night, so there is a 3-minute time limit that will be on the clock in front of me. So, yes, sir, please state your name and you may proceed.
Yes, sir. My name is C.J. Barwa. I live on the property that is directly adjacent to the Silver Oaks development on Germany Road. My concerns with voting this approval, and I have questions, is that right now in the morning, traffic is backed up all the way to my house. If he would put that study back up here of the aerial, I don't know. No, that's the one right there. How does that, I don't know how this.
Here's Germany, here's Airline.
All right, do we turn it? Okay. So, sir, the far right where the housing and the pond is, that shaded area. Okay, I can touch. All of this shaded area here is our property. And in the morning and in the evenings, traffic on Germany Road is backed up to right here. The builder had a specific requirement that he was going to put this turn-in lane in before a certificate of occupancy was granted. My concern is if we have to wait for the parish to do it, I don't know when that time frame is going to happen. Obviously, it probably will not happen before a certificate of occupancies are issued. We will have more traffic on Germany Road. There's no assurances that that intersection will be improved. In the meantime, if we can get a right turn lane, alleviate the traffic, it's a safety condition. When I'm trying to pull out of my driveway in the morning to make a left-hand turn, if he has to add a right lane, then I don't understand why we can't expand further at a later date. So I would ask that it not be removed, and we hold the builder to making improvements to Germany Road before he can have a certificate of occupancy issued on an apartment complex that is going to put hundreds of drivers on the road. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Has anyone else signed up to speak on this issue? All right, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing on this. Any questions, comments, and/or motion from the commission?
I just asked Mr. Fournier, do you have a time frame that you know of for this improvement on the highway?
I don't have a time frame specifically, but there's discussion with some of the council members is that we want to have this done as soon as we can. There's money that's available to us through the traffic impact fee program, as well as parish money that will be allocated for this construction. My conversations with the Department of Public Works, as well as some of the council members, is that they want to get this done quicker, most definitely sooner than later. In terms of a timetable, I don't have one right now.
So it's not an approved project as of right now?
I'm sorry?
It's not an approved project as of right now?
Not as yet. I mean, they don't have, we don't have any construction plans for it.
Mr. Fournier, if we do remove that right turn lane as part of their approval, what safety nets, what guarantees does the gentleman have that everything is going to be done before permits are issued?
Well, basically, they can pull the permits. If the condition is pulled, they will be able to pull permits, right? They can pull building permits now. They just can't get a certificate of occupancy until, that lane is completed. Right.
So they would still not be able to pull a certificate, a CO, until if we remove that condition and added this other condition.
Well, it wouldn't be a condition. We're not asking you to place another condition on the property. We're asking you to remove the existing condition. Right.
How far away is the developer at this point from being able to pull the first certificate of occupancy? Where are they at in the development process?
They've just pulled building permits for the construction of the units. I think of the 14, they have 14 buildings that they're placing there. And I think they pulled permits for about the first 6 buildings, right? So they are underway to construct the project. So they are moving, right? Well, just to clarify and to show the map again, John, if you could put that up there. The gentleman's discussing this issue right here. This is a single-family detached home site development that occurred. This is the apartment buildings that are being constructed. The condition was not placed on the construction of the single-family detached home project. It was placed on the apartments. Right?
And there's been no construction started on the apartments yet?
No, they just pulled the permits on that a couple of weeks ago, on the first 6 or so. Yeah.
What would be the time frame as to, I'm just curious to when you might expect occupancy there? I see Derek raising his hand.
Mr. Murphy, could you come up?
Mr. Murphy represents the developer on this.
All right, Mr. Jerome said he was gonna present tonight, so I'm just here to answer any questions, so I'll answer that. Looking at, we did pull permits probably about 2 weeks ago. You're looking at, you got COs probably on first couple buildings, probably six months, possibly. These are gonna come online over the next, so many, probably over the next year, I would think, maybe even longer than that. They still gotta do all the parking, all the infrastructure, drainage, sewer, all the things we gotta do, detention, maintenance buildings, clubhouse, all the amenities that we have to do in there. The thing that's about this is, we have $38,000 in traffic impact fees. This is an off-site improvement. It would be put in my opinion, probably sooner than with this deal. But you're taking $190,000 or so that could go into full intersection improvements that will give you a left turn, a straight through, and a right turn. And you're taking it and putting it on a right turn that's going to be ripped out because there's an alignment issue. It's not something that can be built on. It's not something that can be extended. It is an alignment issue. That right turn lane will be put in, and that turn lane will be removed with these intersections. This intersection, from my understanding from Jerome and talking to, he talked to the council member, it is an intersection that needs improvement today. I agree. The right turn is not the fix-all, end-all. It was found in our traffic study to be deficient, and that's what the traffic impact fee credits was to fix deficiencies when we go through that intersection, even though we did not have the true, we weren't the exact cause of the deficiency. In this case, it would be spending the $200,000, and that's why it came to this. It came from the parish. Why are we going to require this building when it's our intent sooner than later to go ahead and fix that intersection? Go ahead and duplicate what's on the other side, because that's what truly is needed. Okay, and so we do have the traffic impact fees, the Move Ascension, and all those funds, and that program is in place. And so why spend that? And it doesn't matter to develop. He's going to put it up and go do it, or he's going to give the money. It doesn't matter to him. He just thinks, just like we do, that this is the best bang for the taxpayer dollars.
Mr. Fournier, you could clarify something for me. How many council members are on the Transportation Committee?
I think there's 7, if I'm
And
not
it's the
mistaken.
committee, correct me if I'm wrong, is only council members, correct?
Correct.
I mean, there's no other people on that committee other than council members, correct? And so what we're being asked today is to make a recommendation to the full council, which they can either adopt or reject.
Correct.
Ultimately, it's their decision, it's not our decision.
Correct.
Would you say from the tenor of the Transportation Committee that it is the will of the council to accept these impact fees, accept the cash as opposed to the improvements, so they can move forward quickly with the improvements at the intersection of Germany and Airline Highway?
It is, yes.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to recommend that we remove this obligation from the developer.
We got a motion by Mr. Dumas. Do I have a second by Mr. Christie? All in favor?
Aye.
Any in opposition? Hearing none, motion passes. That completes the agenda. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
All right, we are going to adjourn the joint meeting, and we will come back in just a few minutes to start the Planning Commission meeting. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.